Hillary Clinton may be in trouble because more and more people are feeling the burn. Bernie Sanders continues to surge, winning state after state in the Democratic primaries and caucuses. He's beginning to make the case that he should be the nominee. Because of this, Clinton has found herself back to campaigning against him. New polls suggest Sanders is ahead in Wisconsin and poised to win California. That same poll in California had Hillary Clinton with a big lead last November, but it seems Bernie Sanders is now making a name for himself. So can he edge past Clinton in the race for the White House? That's our topic this half hour. And we want to hear from you on Facebook and on Twitter, so weigh in and we may use your comment on air. Joining us live in the newsroom is Fox 26 senior legal analyst Chris Tritico, Democratic media consultant Mustafa Tamiz, and Republican strategist and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. So more people are feeling the burn, huh, guys?
Well, Hillary Clinton's certainly feeling the burn. You know, not only a year ago was Hillary Clinton way ahead in California. When Bernie Sanders announced his campaign, he had 3%. 3%. Today, he's pushing ahead of her in polls. He's won 5 states in a row. He's about to win Wisconsin. He's poised to win California, and he is putting together a huge ground game to go straight after her in her home state of New York. He won't go away. For months, we've been saying, all analysts have been saying, that Hillary Clinton is going to win this nomination, but Bernie Sanders is now making the argument that you take these superdelegates out of the picture, I'm winning more states than Hillary Clinton, and when I go to this convention, these superdelegates can no longer ignore me, Mustafa Tamiz. And, you know, with California being this, if you will, a hybrid winner-take-all state, if he wins California, he goes into New York and takes New York, he has a good claim at the convention. You superdelegates have to come over to me.
Well, in California, it's June 7th. New York is much sooner in April. So if he wins New York, I think he sets up to basically go over and take over California. And he's raising a huge amount of money. Last month in March, he raised $44 million. So he's got the financial resources to go into a state like California, you know, with over 30 million people and launch a pretty aggressive campaign to win California. So this is a real fight. This is no longer Bernie Sanders is not someone that she can ignore. And it seems like just when every time she edges a lead, that's when she does her worst. She gets out of the media cycle and he begins to gain.
Hillary had gone a month ago. Hillary Clinton was ignoring him. I've got it. It's over. I'm going to ignore Bernie Sanders. I'm going straight after Donald Trump. She's given up on that. Now she's back to campaigning directly against Bernie Sanders, and he's making gain after gain after gain.
Yeah, I still think she's ignoring Bernie because in reality, this is really not a race. The way that the Democratic system is set up with the superdelegates, I mean, she's got all of the superdelegates lined up. Let's take New York, for example. Even if he were to win, because polls are showing that that's a very good possibility, she will still walk away with the superdelegates. If you look at the delegate count, he's pretty close. But then when you add in all the superdelegates that she has, that's why she has such a large number. So this isn't really a real race. But what this is really telling us is just how liberal the Democrat Party is, because you have someone who is a socialist. He says he's a socialist. His policies are based on socialism, and yet you still have this large amount of people coming out to vote for him.
But what about his argument that if I go to the convention winning more states than Hillary, the superdelegates can no longer, I can't talk today, the superdelegates can no longer ignore me, and they have to come over to my side.
Look, I support Hillary Clinton, but he has a very strong argument that if he stands on the convention floor and says, look, I won this race fair and square, and now the party insiders are going to end up deciding, you know, who's going to be the nominee. That's not fair, and he'll have a very strong argument for that, and this convention could be almost as interesting as the Republican convention, but probably not there yet.
All right, let's go to Donnelly. She's monitoring our social media. Coming back, I want to talk about Donald Trump because he had one interesting week.
Yeah, he certainly has. You know, a lot of people on social media are saying that more people are feeling the burn and that Donald Trump should just go away after that abortion comment. And I can't quite see what this one says. Let's see. But a lot of folks talking about the political showdown that's going on, and they think Hillary Clinton is really in trouble.
Well, I don't know if Hillary, how much trouble she's in because of the superdelegates, but with Bernie Sanders making the gain that he's making, then we're going to see, because that's now become a very interesting race. But let's turn our attention to Donald Trump. He went out of the frying pan into the fire, back into the frying pan this week. His comment about locking women up for abortion, if they get an abortion, is the most. I didn't think it could get any more caustic to women. He did it.
Yeah, Donald Trump he says what he wants to say, and so far his supporters have not left him. I think that the fact that you have two people who are the leading their parties, and their favorability ratings are at an all-time low. Both parties' leaders, their voters do not like who they are. They don't trust Hillary. They don't like Trump. So the fact that he said this after he had given Planned Parenthood several checks really says a lot about Donald Trump. I've been saying from day one he's a Democrat who just happens, and he said in an interview he's running as a Republican because it was an easier ticket to ride.
Well, he said it. An hour later he retracted it, probably because his campaign manager got him into a corner and beat him up. And then he came back later and made an even more liberal comment about abortion. I mean, he all week long he modified his statement about abortion because his campaign people had to be saying, you've got to fix this.
Well, he shoots from the hip, and in this comment you see that it's a very important position to many people in the Republican primary base. It's a very important position to many people in our country, and he just goes back and forth and says some outrageous things. But look, the reason why he's dangerous is not just because of these comments. He also talked about nuclear weapons.
I was about to bring that up.
I mean, he's pointing to Japan and saying maybe they should have a nuclear weapon.
And South Korea.
He's pointing to Saudi Arabia and saying maybe you should have it. Why should we protect you? He's talking about pulling out of NATO. He's taking everything that Republican and Democratic presidents have stood for in curtailing nuclear proliferation around the world, and he's just making a mockery out of it.
And you've seen Ted Cruz go up 10 points in Wisconsin. That's got to be a direct result of these caustic statements against women and his stand on NATO and nuclear weapons. I mean, it's got.
I actually think the rise, and of course I'm supporting Ted, but I actually think the rise is actually because, in a large part, because of the exit of Rubio. A lot of Rubio supporters are now looking at Ted because you have the conservatives, and he's the real conservative in the race, versus there is a demographic that comes out for Donald Trump, which is very similar to the demographic coming out for Bernie Sanders, white men. So you have these white men that have never really been engaged to the level that they're being engaged in the Republican primaries, and that's where Donald Trump continues to get his support.
We're going to have to leave it right there. I want to give a shout out to my mentor who taught me how to practice law. Richard Racehorse Haynes turns 89 years old today.
Wow,
Happy birthday,
Richard.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.